Let's begin with the latest coming in from Russia. Russia says that Ukraine just launched one of its biggest drone attacks on Moscow. It added that all the drones were destroyed. No deaths have been reported. However, 2 people have been injured in the attack. Ukraine has not acknowledged launching attacks against targets inside Russia. Russia launched a fresh attack on Kiev on Monday. This came hours after an overnight attack on Ukraine's capital. Residents rushed to seek shelter. Ukraine's armed forces have said that 11 missiles launched by Russia in daytime attacks were downed. School children were seen running and screaming on the streets of Kiev as Russia conducted airstrikes. This was the 16th wave of air attacks on Ukraine's capital this month. According to Ukrainian authorities, 1 person was injured in Monday's attack. Fresh clashes have broken out in the northern part of Kosovo. Tensions increased after Albanian mayors took office in northern Kosovo. It's a region with the majority of Kosovo's Serbians. NATO's Kosovo force said that the recent developments have prompted them to increase their presence in the region. At least 34 soldiers of NATO's peacekeeping mission have been injured in the clashes. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has fired his son, Shotaro Kishida, from his position of Executive Policy Secretary. This comes after the Prime Minister's residence was used for a private party last year. A magazine had published photos showing Kishida's son and some relatives attending the party. Kishida called his son's behavior inappropriate. The Japanese PM added that he's taking responsibility for his son's actions by removing him from his position. Cambodia's king, Norodom Sihamoni, has arrived in India's capital New Delhi for a 3-day visit. He will be accorded a ceremonial welcome today. Indian President Draupadi Murmu will host a state banquet. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold bilateral talks with the Cambodian king. The meeting will also be attended by the Indian President, Vice President and External Affairs Minister. India's northeastern state of Manipur continues to see bouts of violence. At least 10 people were killed in clashes on Monday. With this, the death toll has crossed 80. Meanwhile, a contingent of the Indian Army, which was patrolling the violence-hit areas, reportedly came under heavy gunfire. India's Home Minister Amit Shah has arrived in Manipur to monitor the situation. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been called for questioning in the Corps Commander House attack case. He's been asked to appear before a joint investigative team at the Qilla Gujjar Police Headquarters in Lahore. The Corps Commander House was torched following an anti-government protest on May 9th. The protest was held by Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party supporters after Khan's arrest earlier this month. Khan is the chief of the PTI. Republican lawmakers in the US have spoken against the US debt ceiling deal. The bipartisan agreement is facing a rocky start. Some Republicans have said that they would oppose the deal to raise America's $30.4 trillion debt ceiling. US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy earlier predicted that the deal would draw the support of most of his fellow Republicans. The Biden administration has condemned Uganda's anti-LGBTQ+ law. The US government has called for its immediate repeal. Officials are also looking at the possibility of implementing sanctions on Uganda. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that the government is considering visa restrictions against Ugandan officials over the abuse of human rights. This comes at a time when there's a near total ban on abortion in at least 12 US states. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and Brazilian leader Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva held bilateral talks on Monday. The 2 leaders met on the sidelines of the ongoing South American summit in Brazil's capital, Brasilia. Maduro and Lula discussed America's sanctions on Venezuela. They questioned the legitimacy of the 900 sanctions that Venezuela faces. Lula criticized the sanctions, calling them extremely exaggerated. Meanwhile, Maduro expressed his interest of having Venezuela as a part of BRICS. BRICS is a group of emerging nations led by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Lula said he would personally favor if Venezuela proposed a bid to join BRICS. Fireworks exploded in the hands of a civilian who was celebrating the re-election of Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Istanbul city in Turkey. The malfunctioned fireworks ricocheted off the ground as people ran for cover. Meanwhile, no injuries have been reported from the incident. Protests broke out in Senegal's capital, Dakar. This comes after lawmakers and their supporters were blocked from visiting the home of a prominent opposition leader. The leader is facing trial on rape charges. Police fired tear gas at demonstrators. Warring factions in Sudan have agreed on extending the ceasefire for 5 more days. This comes after fresh clashes and airstrikes were witnessed in the capital, Khartoum. Last week, Saudi Arabia and the US brokered a 7-day truce deal. Nigeria's new leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was sworn in on Monday. Tinubu is a seasoned politician and he emerged as the winner after a tightly contested election in February. He will be the 16th president of Nigeria. Tinubu took the oath of office in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. In his inaugural address, he vowed to rid the African nation of terrorism. He also said that he would tackle the issue of rising poverty, food scarcity, and bureaucratic corruption. Authorities in Vietnam's capital Hanoi are bracing for a heat wave. Streetlights have been partially turned off to keep the nation's power supply running. Warmer conditions have brought a surge in electricity demand in some parts of the country. This week, the maximum temperature is expected to reach 38 degrees Celsius. Heavy rains have caused floods in various parts of Madrid in Spain. The floodwater caused traffic jams and cars were seen getting submerged. Earlier this week, Spanish authorities had closed schools, universities, and daycare centers as a precautionary measure. Hundreds of dead birds have washed up on a beach in Chile. This has prompted environmental concerns among locals and authorities. It's unclear what caused the death of these birds. Samples have been sent to a laboratory in the capital, Santiago. It'll determine whether the birds have died due to a contagion. Authorities have warned locals not to collect dead birds to avoid any possible infection. Talks to reduce plastic pollution began in Paris on Monday. The aim is to agree to a binding treaty that will be implemented before the end of 2024. 50 countries are part of these talks. The dialogue will focus on limiting the production of more plastic. Ahead of the talks, some countries have said that one of the goals should be to ensure circularity. These countries are in favor of keeping already produced plastic items in circulation for as long as possible. Researchers have said that wealthy countries should pay for the damage they have caused to the environment in developing countries. In November last year, world leaders agreed to create a dedicated loss and damage fund. This aimed to provide financial assistance to poor nations dealing with climate disasters. Researchers say that a similar fund should be created for the loss of nature. This is because the loss of habitat in developing countries is driven by the activities of developed nations. The Bank of Japan Governor Kazuo Ueda has said that it will maintain its ultra-loose monetary policy. This comes as the country's inflation is below the central bank's preferred rate of 2%. Ueda says that the inflation rate could dip even further towards the middle of 2023. However, he expects it to rebound thereafter. Britain's shop price inflation picked up this month. It jumped to reach its highest rate ever since the industry began keeping records in 2005. The British Retail Consortium has said that prices in supermarkets rose 9% in the year till May. However, food price inflation slowed to 15.4%. Financial firm HSBC is set to rename the UK arm of Silicon Valley Bank. Reports say that the unit will be renamed to HSBC Innovation Banking. In March, HSBC had bought the UK arm of the troubled lender for just €1. Silicon Valley Bank had become the largest US bank to fail since the 2008 financial crisis. Japan's Mitsubishi Motors will extend its production freeze in China. Last month, the carmaker halted the production of its Outlander sport utility vehicle in China for 3 months. This was after electric vehicles have hit the sales of gasoline-powered cars in the country. Reports say that SUVs represent the largest portion of the electric vehicle market in China. India has filed a graft case against Britain's BAE Systems and Rolls-Royce. This is over an alleged criminal conspiracy in the procurement and manufacturing of 123 advanced jets used for training. The manufacturers of the jet trainers reportedly paid illegal commissions to middlemen. These middlemen then helped the companies get contracts from the Indian government. The case is based on the findings of India's Central Bureau of Investigation in 2016. India's market regulator has reconstituted its Intermediary Advisory Committee. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has inducted several new members to the committee. This includes Nitin Kamath, the CEO of India's leading online brokerage firm, Zerodha. One of its newest members is also Lalit Keshre, the CEO of financial services firm Grow. The committee will give suggestions regarding India's financial market. Australia's gambling chain, Crown Resorts, has agreed to pay a fine of almost $300 million. This was after Australia's financial regulator accused the company of criminal activities at its casinos. Crown's Melbourne and Perth casinos allegedly failed to assess money laundering and terrorism financing risks that they faced. The company has admitted to its wrongdoing. Cryptocurrency exchange Binance has appointed Richard Teng to head its regional markets outside the US. Teng first joined Binance as the CEO of its Singapore unit in August 2021. At present, he already heads regions like Asia, Europe, and North Africa. The development comes at a time when Binance is facing non-compliance issues from US authorities. US-based chip company NVIDIA has said that it's building an AI supercomputer for Israel. It'll reportedly cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build the device. This is said to be the most powerful supercomputer ever. Reports add that it'll be operational by the end of 2023. Within the past week, NVIDIA has scaled up to become the most valuable chip company globally. Elon Musk's Twitter could potentially be banned from Europe. The threat comes over the social media firm's withdrawal from the European Union's disinformation rules. Last week, Twitter pulled out of the EU's voluntary disinformation code. This included guidelines for big tech companies to fight disinformation on the internet. Moving on to sports. Chennai Super Kings beat Gujarat Titans in a last ball thriller in Monday's IPL final. Gujarat batted first at Ahmedabad's Narendra Modi Stadium. They put up a mammoth total of 214 runs thanks to a 94-run knock from Sai Sudarshan. Rain stopped play as Chennai began their batting. As the clouds cleared, Chennai were given a revised target of 171 runs in 15 overs. This was using the Duckworth-Lewis method. The method is used to calculate a revised target for the team, batting second if the match is interrupted by rain. Chennai batters took the game to the wire. They required 10 runs of the last 2 balls. Ravindra Jadeja smashed a 6 and a 4 in the last 2 balls to seal the win. With the victory, Chennai matched the record for the most successful IPL team, having won the tournament 5 times. Meanwhile, Gujarat fans also had something to cheer about. Gujarat batter Shubman Gill was awarded the orange cap for the highest runs this season. Gill scored 890 runs this year. He was also given the Player of the Tournament award. Meanwhile, his teammate Mohammad Shami won the purple cap for being the highest wicket taker. Veteran Shami took 28 wickets for Gujarat this year with an economy rate under 8.5. Sri Lanka has placed a bid to host this year's Asia Cup. The cricket tournament will be played this September. Pakistan is currently the designated host. However, the Indian team has refused to travel to Pakistan, citing security concerns. Pakistan has offered a hybrid model where India's matches would be played in the UAE. However, India are uncertain about the plan. Meanwhile, Bangladesh and Afghanistan are backing Sri Lanka's bid to host the tournament. In football, Chelsea confirmed the appointment of Mauricio Pochettino as their new head coach. Pochettino has signed a contract with Chelsea for 2 years with the option of an extension. The former Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain manager will be tasked with reviving Chelsea's fortunes. Chelsea have lost 8 of their last 11 matches this season. They finished 12th in the Premier League. Napoli coach Luciano Spalletti is stepping down and taking a break from football. Spalletti has decided to take some time off for personal reasons. This comes after he led Napoli to their first Serie A title since 1990. Napoli are yet to announce a replacement for Spalletti. Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper Sergio Rico has been hospitalized. Rico remains in intensive care after being involved in a horse riding accident. He was participating in an annual pilgrimage in southern Spain when the accident occurred. In tennis, world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz cruised into the second round at the French Open. Spaniard Alcaraz beat Italy's Flavio Cobolli 6-0, 6-2, 7-5 on the clay court at Roland Garros. He will now face Japan's Taro Daniel in the next round. Meanwhile, a 2-time Roland Garros champion Novak Djokovic made a commanding start. He beat Alexander Kovacevic 6-3, 6-2, 7-6 to advance to the next round. After his win, Djokovic wrote a message of peace on the camera as he left the court. He wrote, "Kosovo is the heart of Serbia. Stop the violence." In basketball, Miami Heat beat Boston Celtics in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston had pushed Miami to the wire, coming back from 3-0 to tie 3-all in the series. But Heat dominated Celtics in the final match, winning the game 103-84. Forward Jimmy Butler scored 28 points to seal the win for Miami. Miami Heat will now face Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. In athletics, some concerning news for Neeraj Chopra fans. The star Indian javelin thrower has suffered a muscle strain while training. To avoid further risk, Chopra has decided to withdraw from next month's FBK Games in the Netherlands. In entertainment, Benedict Cumberbatch's house was attacked by a knife-wielding man last night. The man broke into the actor's North London home. He reportedly ripped the telecom and threw a plate against the garden wall. Cumberbatch, his wife, and their 3 children were at home during the attack. The man was identified as Jake Bissell, a former chef at a hotel in London's Mayfair. He was soon arrested and given a 3-year restraining order. Director Martin Scorsese is on a post-Cannes tour of Italy. He attended the Global Aesthetics of the Catholic Imagination Conference with his wife. After that, he met the Pope at the Vatican. He said that the Holy Father's appeal to let him see Jesus moved him. Based on his interaction with the Pope, Scorsese announced a film on Jesus Christ. The Super Mario Bros. Movie has set a box office record in Japan. The film has grossed $71 million since its release on the 28th of April. It hit this milestone in just 31 days, making it the quickest ever by a non-Japanese animation in the Japanese market. The movie currently ranks third at the worldwide box office for animated films, trailing behind the Frozen films. The competition lineup for the 25th edition of the Shanghai International Film Festival has been announced. The festival revealed the movies for the 4 main feature-length sections. The lineup includes 9 mainland Chinese titles, 2 films from Hong Kong, and 5 from Iran. The shortlisted films will compete for the Golden Goblet Awards. The festival will take place between the 9th and the 18th of June. Johnny Depp's band Hollywood Vampires has postponed its US tour dates due to the actor's ankle injury. The shows scheduled for May 30th and 31st and the 1st of June have been pushed to July. Depp suffered a hairline fracture on his ankle following his recent appearances at the Cannes Film Festival. Singer Shania Twain performed at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles after 25 years. She took her Queen of Me tour to the arena as part of her North American schedule. The show was attended by actors Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson and actor Kristen Bell. K-pop singer Aura was in the Indian city of Chandigarh yesterday, where he performed with Korea's DJ Friday. The two performed several Korean hits like Dreamers and Love Is Right. They even sang some famous Bollywood songs. Aura recently released a remix of the Bollywood disco hit titled Jimmy Jimmy. K-pop singer Jeno Lee is now the first global male ambassador for luxury brand Ferragamo. He said that he's very excited to create a synergy with the brand. Lee was earlier seen at Ferragamo's show at the Milan Fashion Week in February this year. K-pop band Monster X has announced its 7th official fan club concert this summer. The members will meet their fans, also known as Monbebes, on the 8th and 9th of July. A retro-style poster was released on the band's social media to announce the concert. Record producer Clive Davis has announced a new documentary about his annual pre-Grammy Gala. It's titled The Greatest Party Ever. He teased a 12-minute preview of the documentary at his Memorial Day party. It features highlights and performances from 50 years of his pre-Grammy celebration.